We're back to the warehouse for Blitzball Battle 4. MacFlurry Power is ready to put up another banner. Let's talk Blitzball. Welcome to the Blitzball Boys, the podcast about Blitzball and boys, but lately about boys. I'm your co-host, Brendan Ruppel. Along with my fellow host, Peter Del Rey.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey.
We got a boring game to talk
boring
about
game.
today. Rude. Starting it off, rude.
Also, speaking of not boring things, speaking about things I want to talk about, the banner comment I made before, I wrote that down before in my notes, and then immediately saw K-Mac post a picture of him wearing the banner as a blanket for bed.
I wondered
Very cute.
if that was your inspiration for it.
I said it. I wrote it down right beforehand. So putting that out in the airwaves.
Putting it out in the airwaves. I don't know if you saw this. The internet community has already, for the most
Condemned
part,
us.
No.
Oh.
They've already, for the most part, given the championship to Woogas, which
Really?
I think is
I didn't
even
realize that.
way ruder than we've ever been. Way ruder than we've ever been.
I've been heavy on MacFlurry Power. I feel like me and you have kind of decided that would be the championship.
Really early on, too, which is kind of crazy.
Now that you say that, though, I want to say that it's almost definitely hook line. And we're recording this as the other game's going on, but I want to say it's almost definitely hook line versus MacFlurry now that everyone's decided it's Woogas. Just based on laws of sports.
I mean, everybody, when we first did this, I was convinced it was going to be We Got Ice. So.
Yeah.
But what do we have to talk about? I have to apologize to Colin Stone.
Yes, you do.
I think we were talking about this before the podcast, and I'm bringing it up now because I'm terrified I'm going to forget once we get into like the weeds of this.
Yeah. You have less hair now, which means less brains.
Way less hair, more brains.
Oh.
More brains.
Interesting.
Because when I had more hair, I had the less brains of saying that he was out of the MVP race when he is. I was watching this game and fully was just like, fuck. Colin may not have the batting numbers that like somebody like Jimmy Norp has. Mm-hmm. But my God, if he continues, and I told you this before.
Yeah.
If he goes through the championship with 0 runs allowed, he has to be MVP, period.
The sheer dominance is just, it puts him over the top. It's kind of like Jimmy O'Brien in Ball and Play, like such a great force on the mound, and also just like a strategizer that he didn't have to have like the craziest batting numbers to be MVP. Also, Colin's also he's just such a good defender as well.
We saw that.
There hasn't been a ton of plays made in the field this tournament, but a good chunk of them in my brain are Collins. So
Collins,
he's good. I want to put it out there that, and Colin, I know you're listening. I never wavered my faith for you.
Brennan wavered his faith pretty hard.
Never, no.
We get it. You're the biggest Colin fan of all time.
You said it. You said that to me the other, like maybe the last episode. Like, I don't know why you like this guy so much. He fucking sucks.
That's not what I said. What I said was we've been covering 7 tournaments and you've never like been so high on somebody.
Yeah.
As you are on Colin. But beyond that, Brendan, why don't you just burn so that you could do that for 2 seconds, then we'll get back to talking about it. Man. Sick fucking dude.
It's K-Mac and Colin Stone versus Thick Ass and All Bone. Colin only knows how to be dominant, so he naturally continues his scoreless streak on the mound. But Nicky at his peak makes me red in the cheeks, and he decides to mow down the purple partners. It's K-Mac's turn to prove himself on the mound, and the capeless Crusader couldn't have found it at a better time. He gets his 2 outs and hands it over to Colin to finish the job. Nicky leaves Dalton in an almost worst-case scenario at the end of the game, and it's almost as anticlimactic as the end of this burn. He walks in the winning run. MacFlurry Power moves on to their 2nd championship game in as many franchise tournaments. Wow.
Congratulations to the MacFlurry Powers. Kristen, this weekend, asked me if I wanted to go get a Shamrock Shake. Is that a MacFlurry?
That's not a... No, MacFlurry. That's just a shake.
Strike it from the record. I brought it up.
Have you had a Shamrock Shake?
Wow. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely not.
I don't know what it is.
And you haven't had a MacFlurry either, right? So that would have checked two
haven't
boxes.
had a MacFlurry either.
No.
What is the Shamrock Shake's flavor?
Mint and vanilla, I guess.
I
So you didn't know what you're just gonna go get it just because it's green and it's like a thing?
love mint.
Oh, you do? Okay. You're just
I love mint.
puking.
I had
separately.
what's it called? Thin mint flavored ice cream earlier today.
Yeah, oh, nice. I love Thin Mints.
And I specify thin mint flavored ice cream and not mint chocolate chip because there were pieces of Thin Mints in the ice cream.
So I don't know how big of a fan you are of like Thin Mints, the brand, or like Girl Scout cookies, the brand. Tell me if I'm wrong here or if you've even had these. I think Grasshopper is the exact same cookie, and there's no reason to ever get the Girl Scout cookies.
More like ass hopper.
Good answer. Good answer.
This is a bug, Brendan.
They're better than Thin Mints.
No, I've never had.
They're
I have had grasshoppers. They're not better than Thin Mints.
they're the same. They're the same.
No, they're
They're
more.
the exact same.
They're more cookie than Thin Mints are.
They're a simulacrum.
There's too much cookie.
Okay.
in
Well, I'm
grasshopper.
glad you have an opinion because I've only had them
Yeah.
I haven't had them side by side, so you could be right.
Am I wrong right now? You're talking about the Keebler ones, right? Not like this fucking weirdo oatmeal cream pie.
The Keebler ones, because the
thing that I'm
Keeblers
seeing?
also do a version of the Samoas too, and I think those are the same as well.
Those are the same.
Yeah.
Those are definitely the same. But the Keebler grasshoppers have more cookie than Thin Mints do,
Okay.
and the like appeal of Thin Mints is like how
The crispiness.
just-
Yeah.
like a chip, almost like a potato chip.
Sure. Okay.
Sure.
I'll try them out.
Sure.
Sure. I didn't order any Girl Scout cookies this year.
Neither did I. Kristen did. Haha. That's my wife.
Wife.
We're beating the allegations. Brendan put out a very mean rumor about me getting divorced, and I'm not.
On this show,
love
and I
my
think they're
wife.
debunked within the same sentence.
Holy shit, Brendan. Let's tease the audience a little bit with that,
Ooh,
but not really.
It's a little skin.
Kristen, apparently Saturday night, I fell asleep on like Kristen's shoulder while we were cuddling because we're cute, and
Sounds pretty cute.
started sleep talking like crazy. Look at this. This is what Kristen wrote it down. That's everything that I said.
That's a whole conversation.
It's it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 conversations that I said rapid fire.
And you just showed me the conversation, and it started with, "It's K-Mac and Colin Stone versus Thick Ass and All Bone." You're just saying my burns before I
There
read
you
them.
go. That's what it is.
That's weird. What a weird thing.
What a very weird thing. What, sleep talking?
No, just the fact that we have like telekinesis powers with each other.
Telekinesis.
I
telekinesis.
definitely sleep talk sometimes. Maybe this isn't the place to talk about this, but definitely when I
It is.
drink a little too much,
Oh.
which hasn't happened in many years at this point, but
That's
I drink too much
immoral.
and go right to bed. Like if I'm like very drunk and go immediately to bed, I wake up and I sleep talk and sleepwalk and try and go to the bathroom in places that aren't bathrooms.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I tend to sleep talk more. The less sleep I get the night before, I sleep talk more. Because like I had 3 hours of sleep the night before. That was Sleepy Boys.
That's a great show.
This game started out just like last game. I think it was last game that I brought it up. Another 0-0 first inning, where you saw Colin being Colin, and like I said earlier, I thought to myself, Colin has to be the MVP, an MVP candidate again, because he's just so dominant. Like at no point, even after like giving up a single to Nikki, like there was no point where I ever felt worried with him on the mound.
Yeah.
And even that first at bat where Nikki popped one up and Colin just kind of like delayed. And he's like, "Oh, that's right. I got to catch this." Caught it. Made it look
there it is.
so easy. Bing, bunk.
Yeah, I mean, going
Good
into this
job.
game, it was right after the first game that Love Yas was good at the plate. So you're like, oh, okay, well, something's got to give here. They're either going to get a bunch of runs off of Colin and continue their streak, or Colin's going to continue to do what he's going to do.
Right.
And I kind of thought maybe they'll score a couple on him just because, like, we haven't seen anyone be this good the entire tournament. Like, even Jack has had, like, a blip game where he had a great tournament, but like had one where he like let up a few. Colin's just been disgusting, and his pitch mix is even a little bit different this game too. He almost threw exclusively the rising sliders, maybe mixed in a couple of sinkers, and usually he had been throwing it so infrequently that he lost the feel for the sinker. Like he would throw one and it would just kind of go up and away or wide, and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna keep throwing risers,
which was weird.
just weird. I guess I don't know what the scouting report was there, but it obviously worked. I think the only time it didn't work was maybe was that an inside sinker that he threw to Nicky that he like should have hit a home run on that he absolutely pumped.
Brendan,
I can't remember what the pitch was.
You know that I am awful at recognizing what pitches are.
Because I want to say
I wish I could help. I really do wish I could help you.
That would make sense why it was like low and in, because it would have sunk back into that spot. But otherwise, maybe he saw something in practice or something that these guys were just that maybe he realized nobody's recognizing this pitch, so he's just like, I'm just gonna keep throwing it until someone finally hits it, and no one did. I don't know, but it was interesting.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe now, and also it's good that it worked for this game going into next game, where it's like, well, everybody saw me just throw this one pitch, and now I'm gonna throw mostly sinkers next game, maybe, and just
where you're essentially where you're gonna face a great wiffle ball player at the very least, no matter who wins.
Right.
The big thing here is that Colin. The big takeaway is that Colin looked a little bit more human today, but even that level of humanity that he was showing was pitching godhood.
Yeah, I mean, bend don't break.
Bend don't break. I think something that helped him a lot, and this is taking a little bit away from Colin, which don't get mad at me.
You hate him.
Dalton was not good today. Dalton was awful today.
Yeah, that's kind of part of my thought process of like maybe why he was throwing just this pitch, because especially him, Dalton looked like he was coming nowhere close to that riser. It looked like it was confusing the hell out of him, and then when he was on it, he was still missing most of the ball and just fouling it into the backstop. So,
right, exactly. It was. I want Dalton to do better. I like Dalton a lot. He is so entertaining.
Yeah,
he's such a nice guy. Go back and listen to his interview on here. He's willing to put up with a lot of our shit.
He's a very fun interview. He was a blast to talk to.
Very fun interview. But
remind me when we get to him pitching later. I have thoughts on why his performance was the way it was.
Sure. He didn't allow Nicky to capitalize off of any of the building, because Nicky gets a single and then Dalton immediately gets out, and we see this kind of like Dalton only reached base once off of a walk. Otherwise, his 4 at-bats ended in 4 strikeouts, which is kind of stinky.
It's a little bit poo-poo nasty.
A little bit of like a poo-poo.
It's kind of like fucking horseshit.
Kind of like you look at it and you're like, did a horse make this shit?
Right.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Good joke. Oh my goodness. But then Nicky gets on the mound, bottom of the first, and I thought Love Yas had a chance because I forgot that Dalton would have to pitch eventually. But Nicky gets on the mound.
Time I don't think he did have to pitch. Last game, Love Yas won. I don't think he had to pitch at all.
Yeah, because Nicky gave up the 5.
Yeah.
Nicky was on immediately.
Yeah.
How many times this tournament had we seen Nicky need? Peter Moylan famously said.
I was going to say, how many times we heard Peter Moylan? Yeah, it took him 10
or 11
pitches that
pitches.
first game.
You know, like he had it immediately, and it was his quick pitch was going nuts. Nicky fucking figured out the quick pitch big time.
Yeah.
He got
good.
Same amount of batters, faced 4 batters. Oh, excuse me. He K-Mac hit a single to start, and then it was like strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
The quick pitch is also like it's one of his just like sidearm like lower 3/4 sinkers, but it's almost got different movement because when he throws a quick pitch, he kind of steps to the side a little bit, and it has so much horizontal run compared to his regular sinker, where he'll take a normal pitching step forward and throw forward and like have momentum that way, but he kind of has momentum to the left, which allows him to throw it so much more at an angle that gives it like it's not just like a mentally like scared me kind of pitch. It's also just like it just moves differently than his normal pitches in general. So he could even probably get that into his mix without having to decept batters. I think it's a really effective different look. I like it.
Is that a word? Decept?
Decept, yeah. Deceive.
You can't decept me.
With your fake words.
Wow, I didn't listen to a word of what you said, Brennan. You said decept and everything else was gone.
Just say yes, you agree.
Oh, you know what? I agree. No,
smart man.
No, I think that you're right though. He it's so sad.
But you're right about the momentum thing too. Is tough because if MacFlurry scored any runs, even when I'm watching the game at that moment, I'm watching the game and MacFlurry scores a run off Nicky, say, I would immediately think this game's over.
Hey, so Nicky, you're
all Nicky did.
Just the thought of being around you makes me so sicky. Oh, I just came up with that.
Let me come in for the last word. Is that one of your sleep talk songs?
Yeah, Chris is like, what the fuck?
You recorded the fucking banger while you were in your sleep, bro.
Who's Vicky?
My hot babysitter. Oh. What? What was I saying? Oh, Nicky needed to get all three of these outs in the first inning just to save the game. Like, it wasn't even like, it didn't feel like momentum building just because it kind of had to be there. You know, but based on who they're playing against.
Right. I mean, they did have the chance to face K-Mac in the second inning, and we all knew that would happen because K-Mac got no outs in the field.
But, like, say you throw out the first inning, though, and backup pitcher versus backup pitcher, I take K-Mac over Dalton every day.
But that's what I was about to say. Like, this is where, and we've been talking about this, the playoffs is where it really shines on who are the two pitcher teams. They are the ones who are going to be better than everybody else. And
they're the one who knocks.
You know, the 4 semifinalists, 3 of them are those two pitcher teams because Dalton, while in the past has shown that he can pitch, he really hasn't shown it in this tournament at all. Mm-hmm. And even in the past, it was kind of like he can get by.
Yeah.
He was never like a threat. Whereas like K-Mac, I wouldn't say K-Mac is a threat, but K-Mac is like either, in my opinion, first or second best like secondary pitcher on these teams.
Yeah.
And it's at the point where they almost do have 2 aces, and if K-Mac like
just compared to everybody else.
Like let's be honest, if K-Mac didn't like fuck around and like took the pitching seriously, I think that he would have been just as effective as like Colin in a sense that nobody would have gotten on base, not in a sense that he would be shut down giving up 0 runs or whatever.
Right. But if he learned how to throw the ball overhand, maybe.
Huh?
If he learned how to throw like a pitch or 2 overhand, just to have a different arm angle, he would be that much more effective.
Nicky strikes out immediately, and I said,
"That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all, folks."
Yeah.
And then Dalton came up fully expecting another strikeout, but Dalton gets a walk there after 5 straight balls. And then you think, all right, let's see what Nicky does with this. First pitch double. And then you think, okay, this is good. And then Dalton strikes out, and you're like, oh, it's game over. Because Colin comes back in and is disgusting. But Nicky is able to fight it off and walk. But Dalton isn't after that. And he strikes out, and you go into the bottom of the second with no runs. And it says, and Dalton has to pitch, unless Nicky can induce 2 ground balls immediately, or unless you start with Dalton on the mound and try to just jump him, like catch him off guard, which they didn't end up doing. They ended up starting with Nicky, which honestly I probably would have done as well.
You kind of, I guess you're in survival mode right now, so you want to get as close to the finish line as you possibly can. Like, I think Moreland was saying the opposite. Like, I would put Dalton in right now, but you don't want to dig yourself a hole if you don't have to yet. It obviously didn't work out well because Nicky was the one that ended up digging the hole a little bit.
Well, here's what I was thinking, right? He walks, like, K-Mac is the first one up, and like of the 2, K-Mac is the more dangerous batter. So of course Nicky's going to start.
Right.
Because Nicky's got to try and get K-Mac out for sure to give Dalton like a chance to go at Colin twice. Nicky walks him after K-Mac really fights him off, which is kind of crazy. That's what killed him this game was that first walk.
Mm-hmm.
He stayed in for Colin, where I fully expected that's when Dalton should be coming in, was for Colin.
Yeah,
Colin hasn't been hitting this
if
tournament.
anything,
I mean,
if he's going to come in before any outs are there, or if he's going to come in at all early before 2 outs,
right,
or when out, whatever it is. But yeah,
in a tournament where the league batting average is 448, post game, after this game, Colin was batting 333.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not that much closer to it. Like, you don't want Dalton to be facing bases loaded against K-Mac, which is what we ended up seeing.
Yeah.
So, but I also understand from Nicky's side, like, that he's like, you know, he's got something to prove.
And he like you said, he didn't get that first out. So he's like, well, I guess I got to keep going. Like, the plan was to get the out, toss it over to Dalton clean. Because obviously, like, if you can give Dalton the ball with an out clean, like, well, this had to happen no matter what. So you feel all right about your situation.
Right.
But it just kind of snowballed a little bit.
And it snowballed a lot because it was 2 hits in a row. Colin hits a single, K-Mac hits a single, and then Nicky is able to get Colin to strike out after a fantastic at bat where first Nicky goes down 4-0. Then he somehow is able to fight it off back to full count. Then Colin's fouling off balls. And
the full count quick the full count quiet pitch was crazy that he threw such a nasty slider on a quiet pitch, because we haven't really seen any pitchers be successful on a quiet pitch. It's such a rude thing for the pitcher. So for him to throw a nasty one in there, and then even ruder for Colin to foul it off, I'd be like, oh. Yeah. I'd be so pissed off as a pitcher, but like really good stuff though. Great at bat.
It was, and then Nicky, as you were saying, was kind of cursing to himself. Like, I set Dalton up for failure. Like, there was no way to do this because Dalton then throws 4 balls in a row before K-Mac fouls one off. I even wrote in my notes, it feels like a walk-off walk is inbound, and then there it was. Yeah. Walk-off walk, MacFlurry Power goes to the title game. And listen, I'm disappointed in how it happened because, you know, you want to see action, you want to see offense. They fully deserve it.
Oh, absolutely. That's who you expect.
They fully deserve it.
Yeah, no, I think it really came down to this team having 2 pitchers, like we've been saying. I think even though the 2 of them together are not like a team that absolutely mashes, but you always hear it, defense wins championships. It's really crazy. Love Yas at some point in this tournament learned how to hit, but they had someone as a weight bring them down, being Dalton. And I think that a lot of this, what I was going to say about him too on the mound and stuff, is I think the circumstances of the tournament this time, like, just maybe didn't do him any services, because he really didn't get that many reps. I think there's a few chances where maybe he had, I don't remember off the top of my head, but did he have like a ground ball opportunity where he made a put out and only had to pitch like 1 out? I just feel like he didn't have to pitch that much in this tournament at all. And when
Dalton,
it came,
you're talking about?
when it came time in the semifinals to make 1 out or 2 outs, bases loaded, it's just like, you know, it's not going to happen. This guy has only thrown X amount of pitches, and to come in such a difficult spot for someone who's barely, like, you really, with this ball especially that you're throwing, you need comfortability with it. Let's see. Dalton's probably like the least comfortable person with this ball in the tournament at the moment because he just hasn't thrown.
You got hit it on the head. Dalton threw the least amount of pitches in the entire tournament.
Yeah.
50. By my count, 50. Second lowest, Marshall Plouffe, 53.
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
So that's you see it, like, you feel pitchers being more comfortable the more they throw with the Blitzball. And I think in the future, if this rule stays, this pitching rule, as far as like put outs go, I wouldn't purposely leave a ball for my backup pitcher in the field if there's no stakes in the first couple of rounds. Like, let me get any honestly, even like split it 3 outs and 3 outs, and just like use this as like spring training for the backup pitchers if the tournament's set up the same in the future. Let these guys get as many pitches as they can under their belt.
Should we invite Dalton to play with us? He doesn't live that far away from me.
I'll tell him. He seems like a very friendly, easygoing guy.
He seems like a very friendly guy. Dalton, you want to be the best player for sure? Come play with us.
Come play with us. You feel good.
I feel so bad. I like Dalton so much.
Yeah.
But knowing Dalton, he would be like, "Don't feel bad, Pop." You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah, he'll have another chance. I hope he just gets another chance on the mound to like show that he is capable. Because we've seen him be
Another
capable before.
chance at love.
But just to,
Another chance at love.
I hope he gets another chance at love. Because the
Dalton
first time it just didn't go well.
didn't go well the first time.
Yeah, I just want to see the guy throw strikes, no matter what it is. Just throw some strikes.
Just throw some strikes, dude. Go
Some strikes, dude.
bowling.
Go bowling, babe.
Go bowling. What's the object? Throw some strikes.
You're bound to get one. If you're gonna go bowling, you're gonna get a strike. And if
You gotta.
you do the trick where you put the bumpers up and you throw it as hard as you can, like really early on, just let it bang, bang,
King,
bang,
king,
bang,
king,
bang,
king,
bang.
king, king, king. Yeah.
Yeah.
One time, I put the bumpers up and I threw the ball right at the bumper. Bumper bent over and it went into the other lane. So I was like, sorry, guys. I am an asshole.
I knew a kid I played with, and he scored 1 point the whole game. Like literally, the last pin he got, the one pin he got was his last throw.
Was he
nailed one
trying?
pin. He wasn't trying the whole time, but then like when it got to like the 5th frame, he's like, I should try and get something on the board. And then it got in his head that he wasn't scoring anything. And then he finally got 1 pin. It was really
I love bowling. Bowling's
incredible
fun.
feat. Bowling is a lot of fun.
He has incredible feet.
Cut that.
Cut that.
Shit. I didn't mean machine's broken. Yeah, great job, MacFlurry. I expected this. I feel like you guys have been hungry since the start of the tournament. You haven't looked great in past Blitzball battles, and I'm really glad this is the one that it's starting to click for you guys because it's coming off of maybe the start of a dynasty. Let's see it.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Dynasty? I mean, K-Mac said that they haven't lost since they won, which is
It's true. It is nuts.
that's nuts.
Really cool.
Player of the game.
Player of the game.
We talked about it.
We talked about it.
It's the man who has put himself back into the MVP consideration. By pitching alone. Think about how crazy that is, right? Like, let's equate it back to baseball.
That's how good you have to be. It's like a Justin Verlander-esque season.
We've seen MVP votes for pitchers in baseball, like legitimate ones, a handful of times in our lifetime, with one being obviously Justin Verlander. Colin Stone has pitched so well in this tournament that you have to put him back in. I said famously earlier on one of our other episodes, that Colin is now out of the MVP running because his bat wasn't there, and to be MVP, I thought you needed both. Colin's pitching is so elite that he has to be considered for MVP based off of his pitching stats alone. You know, like 16 outs recorded on the mound, 2 in the field, 15 strikeouts, 4 hits against him, 3 walks total, no runs in 4 games, being the ace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane what he does.
You've been completely efficient. Like you haven't. No one's touched you yet. You haven't
No one's
gotten touched up.
It's he
And
has to.
It's not luck. It's not like he's getting hit and like they're making plays in the field or he's.
It's 26 pitches today, Brendan, or in this game.
It's super
26.
efficient. Super efficient. He just looks so dominant and looks confident too. I think if he felt something going slightly wrong, he would adjust and have another. It's crazy when they break down his pitch mix, even at the start of the game. They're like, yeah, and the one he uses the most now actually isn't even on this chart because we didn't know he had this at the start of the tournament. So he has other pitches that he could go to. He just realizes that the sinker riser combo is just something that nobody else really has, and it works really well.
I mean, I don't even know if it's something that nobody else has. I just think it might even just be nobody can execute at the.
That's also part of it too. I think maybe everyone could throw the ball under like submarine style, but they just can't do it well. And
I can't.
I've
tried.
Only Jack can throw the same rising slider.
Have you tried throwing submarine?
That's how I throw to Chris a lot when my arm hurts.
Oh my God. It is so much harder than I thought. When I first did it, I was like, how does anybody do this?
Yeah.
Sidearm? Fine. I could do sidearm all day.
I'm usually 3/4 and I mix in the submarine. So overhand is usually painful.
Overhand is very painful.
Yeah,
That's because I used to throw shot put.
my arm was broken.
Good job, Colin Stone. Like you deserved it. I mean, even if this was a game with a lot of offense, which it never would be because he's on the mound.
He's on the mound. He feels like the most steady force in the mound we've seen in a long time.
He does, and I'm excited to see the pitching matchup in the final. No matter who wins Woogas versus Hookla.
Yeah, no matter who's it is.
Hooga, ooh, Hauga,
Ooh, Hoga.
Hauga, Hauga,
Hoga. You
Hauga. Play of the game.
What are those weird Hoga guys doing?
Hauga, Hauga, Hauga.
I don't like that show.
Hooga, chugga, hooga, hooga,
This
hooga.
show I like.
I can't fight this feeling. Go ahead. I'm not going to keep going.
I feel like I'm going to start and you're going to start back up.
I was like, I'm going to do the rest of it. And then I was like, I can't. I can't do it anymore.
My play of the game is K-Mac's second strikeout to Dalton. He got so fucking hyped up. It hyped me up. He threw his glove. It was obviously probably a bigger deal, like we were saying before, to get Nicky out first. But for him to get his 2 outs with no runs and toss it over to Colin, who's obviously going to get out of the inning, was huge.
Well,
he did.
It's not obvious, Brendan.
It should be.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Now we do.
We don't know.
But no, I mean, K-Mac is one of the few backup pitchers that can accomplish this. I feel like we just haven't seen that many backup pitchers complete their 2 outs. It just doesn't happen that often. So for him to do it, is really important to this game. Good job, K-Mac.
Good job, K-Mac.
You're starting to find it little by little. It's coming together.
I like it. In a game where there, here's the rude Pete again. In a game where there really wasn't that much excitement, that was exciting.
Yeah, that was good. It could have been. It could have turned around the game where he just, you know what, I'll just keep walking people like he had done in a couple games, and especially a game where like Nicky's so good that they haven't scored a lot of runs. Walks from K-Mac do mean a lot. So that's
he
why
hasn't really walked that many people. I think the only thing is that he hasn't been on the mound that much.
Yeah,
5
if you
walks.
could filter by number 2 pitchers, maybe it would be different.
He's taking a number 2.
If you could filter it by pitchers taking shits.
Technically, if you count hit by pitches as walks, he has more walks than strikes. So, I mean, I guess he's still very, very good. I mean, MacFlurry Power's let up 1 run the whole tournament.
Yeah.
The pitching is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
What was that?
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Brock love it.
Brendan, hit that preview button that everybody's been sending us. When I was younger, that was my absolute favorite episode of television.
Oh
ever.
man, it's so good.
That was such a good one.
Me too.
Comment below if you know what we're talking about.
I'm sure y'all do. You're our age.
On the YouTube. Go on the YouTube, comment below. What are we talking about?
Kids do know SpongeBob though. Oh. Tell us which episode though.
Which episode?
It makes me when Nicole talks to her kids that are in like middle school, high school age now, and they know all the same SpongeBob references. I forget that streaming's a thing. Like, oh, you have access to everything ever all the time. But they think episodes that are newer than 2005 are good, and that's where I disagree with them. It's embarrassing to think that.
2005.
2005 and newer is bad. I'll give you 2006 and newer, but 2005.
I couldn't tell you. For the most part, I was a Cartoon Network kid.
Okay.
So I can't tell you when an episode was from 2005 or 2006 for SpongeBob. I just kind of watched it.
I had Dish Network at the time, and I would always, every time an episode came on, I would hit like info button and look at the year. I was weird. Thought it was interesting.
What do you mean was?
What the hell, Peter? You are so rude.
What the fuck, dude?
What the fuck was that?
Are you fuck? What? What the fuck?
Me? Weird? Here?
You? What? Huh?
Hookline wins.
Western versus Hurricane. Who's gonna win? Woogas versus Hookline.
I mean, honestly, until you said that everyone's pulling for, not pulling, but everyone's thinking it's going to be Woogas, I'm now a hooker.
What a
Always,
contrarian.
I've been a
What a
hooker.
contrarian.
I don't think that they're going to win, but based on the storylines, I'm
Always
like,
been a hooker.
it would be so exciting and crazy if Hookline won. I don't think it's going to happen.
What's that quote that you like? Very exciting, very dangerous.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what it's from because the podcasters that I listen to are referencing something that's very old and I don't know what they're talking about, but I like when they talk about it. Very exciting, very dangerous.
Let's see.
I guess, I never thought to Google it.
Google. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll tell you what it is when I find it.
Yeah, we need performances out of Double D, of Drew and Dan. Dan needs to hit. He can't strike out 6 times and then hit like a double. He needs to like be a steady masher at the plate.
Right.
If Jimmy Norp does struggle to find it again, like he did last game, he pitches, I think that could benefit Hookline. But if he decides to have one of those games where he's like, I'm going to throw 6, 7 pitches and they're all going to hit the strike zone all the time, then they're absolutely fucked. But I think if Jimmy Norp needs to be a little wild in order for Hookline to have a game here.
So the thing that this is going to come down to, right, is what Dan Canobio and what Dan Rourke is going to show up, right? Because Jimmy's going to hit. Drew is probably going to hit. I mean, Drew has seen Jimmy more than anybody else in this entire tournament.
Yeah.
And Jimmy has seen Drew more than anybody else in this entire tournament.
Drew, I feel like, throws a lot differently than he would in wiffle ball, though.
I don't know. I didn't watch MLW, so I don't know. But those two are going to say cancel out is kind of rude because Jimmy has been on MVP pace.
Yeah.
But it's going to come down to, is Dan Canobio going to have a game where he strikes out 15 times?
Right.
Or is he going to hit? Is Dan Rourke going to have a game where he completely loses control on the mound and walks a bunch of guys and lets in runs?
Yeah.
Or is he going to be lights out like we saw in that first game? Who knows? Not me.
I don't think Dan Rourke is going to hit very well in this tournament. Oh my God! Here it goes.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh no!
He's not going to hit that well in this game compared to last game. Last game he was hitting against 2 much lesser pitchers. I think both Drew and Dan Canobio are both above each of the baggage guys.
The more we talk about it, the more I feel like
there's a chance here.
There's a chance for Hookline.
That's a good point. I mean, if baggage came that close and like was maybe just a pitch selection away from winning the game, it's not impossible. This would not be the biggest upset of the tournament.
It all depends on Dan Canobio.
Yeah.
Will Dan Canobio hit, or will he strike out 5 times? That's what it's going to come down to.
Who's the home team?
Wooga. With that, I will say that you've convinced me, Brendan.
Oh.
I think Hookline will be winning this game 6-4.
I got Hookline 7-5.
Whoa!
+1.
We're in total agreement?
Total agreement.
Wow. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Dan.
Make it closer. I'll give you 7-6.
All right, I'll make it closer, 7-7.
And they flip a coin to decide who wins.
Heads or tails? Lands like this. They're right on the edge.
Did you know this? You know the Taco Bell machines? Not the machines, but there's like the little coin things you can get like free like tacos, or if you go, I think they still have them at some Taco Bells, but you walk into a Taco Bell, there's a thing where you drop a coin in. They used to have water in them so that you'd have to drop it in and you spin the little dolly and then you have to land it on the very bottom where it says prize. It's very hard to do. Then they remove the water, so you have to just like drop it on the thing and then like knock it down 3 levels onto the very bottom level, and then depending on what coin size you put in decides what type of food you win. There's a time where I dropped off my friend Gagan into Taco Bell. He was going to pick up whatever his order was. Podcast co-host. He calls me in. He's like, Brennan, you have to come in here right now. I was like, what? What do you need my help for? Just pick up your fucking food. He's like, no, seriously, get in here. He dropped a quarter into the thing. It landed on the winning space in the bottom, completely up and like horizontal, like vertically.
No
completely vertically.
way.
Well, that's why he called me in, because he was like, he knew. I knew you wouldn't believe me if I just told you this. So come in and look at this. And I looked at it. It is true. There is a witness to him dropping a quarter on a winning ticket at Taco Bell completely vertically. He should have He should have owned that store now, in my opinion.
He's the franchisor.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
It was nuts.
Wow.
So
congratulations, Hook Line, on winning the fake predictions.
Yeah.
Do I look excited?
Yeah.
Whatever. Dude,
Whatever.
Fuck off. Hey, dude. How don't you fuck off?
You look kind of badass.
Hey, dude.
No, it's turned from badass to sexy.
Pretty badass guy.
People sleep talking.
I'm sleep talking. All right, fine. I'll read my sleep talks. Brendan, what's your people drink?
Drink Subtle Tea is a drink made by me. You can find it at subtletea.com. Use code HobbyBoys for $2 off your order of a 12-pack. Hobby Boys is my other podcast. We are in the midst of our famous March Madness style tournament called Marty Madness. New
He's
character
here.
idea.
He's here.
I'm Marty Madness. Called Malt Madness.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that when we record my episode and just completely freak Brian out? We'll both be Marty Madness. Wait, you're not Marty Madness. I'm Marty Madness.
Just tune in to hear this great bit that we're going to do soon on the Hobby Boys feed, wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to all of Malt Madness all month long, every Thursday. Peter's going to be a guest real soon. It'll be releasing at the end of the month. And you can watch that on the YouTube. It's on a different playlist from this show, but it's on the same podcast channel, which is Boys Media. Find that on YouTube. Watch this episode. We love seeing you guys interact with us, and just you seem like you're enjoying these episodes. We've gotten more and more people watching and liking and interacting. Let's get some more commenters out there. Let's get some more subscribers, please. We know there's more people that watch and listen than are subscribing, so please smash that subscription button.
Smash it. I will plug my brother, Matthew Del Rey. He's a good boy. I love him very much. Give him a hug and kiss when you see him. Apparently today he came in 8th place on hottest Knicks fans on Twitter, according to female Knicks fans.
Very good.
Good for him, Matthew Del Rey. Remember the name. Beyond that, go to our YouTube, Boys Media. Type in Blitzball Boys, Blitzball Battle 4. We will pop up.
We will.
We will.
Can't stop us.
We must. Remember those Under Armour commercials?
Nope.
We must protect this house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that rings a bell.
And then we go, we must.
That brought me back for a second.
You're back.
I forgot about that.
Brendan, it's 2006.
No.
Fuck.
No.
Fuck.
I had the creepiest
Play
facial
Mega
hair
Man.
back then.
Play Mega Man Battle Network in 2006?
So if you know what mine looks like now,
12-year-old
it's still like
Brendan.
half blonde. I had such a blonde fuzz everywhere, and then like 3 long black hairs.
12?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
There's no way.
I was the first one to go through puberty with my friends.
12 years old.
I was
you had
very tall
facial
with
hair.
my friend group for a little while. Yeah.
12 years old, you had facial
I
hair.
grew to 5'9" at 7th grade, and then I was done growing.
selling this so hard.
It's
Don't
true.
listen to this podcast anymore ever again.
I had facial hair.
Brendan is a liar.
It was bad
pictures.
facial hair. It was like
Post pictures.
Kevin from Ed, Edd and Eddy's head hair was that on my chin.
Post pictures.
Okay.
Play Mega Man Battle Network. Brendan, ask me the question.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Bye-bye.
Bye.